War Room Nation, it's about that time to bring our special guest on the line. We have SMU Mustangs assistant basketball coach Ulric Maligi on the line. How you doing, Ulric?
What's going on, Killer? Thanks for having me.
No problem.
Yeah.
Glad you can make the show. And just to start off, Coach Maligi, when did you know you wanted to be a college basketball coach?
Probably when I was the age of 15. You know, I always admired guys like John Thompson and John Chaney and, you know, as crazy as it sounds, Coach Fane Mitchell. I just remember being a kid when Coppin State went to the NCAA tournament and they had beat South Carolina. I think I was either in the 8th or 9th grade when that happened. And just seeing them kind of shock the world was something that I always, you know, loved the game. I wasn't as talented as some of my other peers. I played AAU and that kind of thing, but I probably would say by that, you know, age of 15, I knew I wanted to be a college basketball coach without a doubt. And my senior year in high school, I was a team captain, and just after the end of the season, we had a pretty good year. You know, my high school coach asked me to coach our spring league team with the returning varsity, and we actually went undefeated. And so the parents wanted us to kind of stay together. We formed our own AAU team called Team Arlington Select, where we ended up having about 5 or 6 guys that were Division I on that team. And then later that summer, I ended up joining, actually merging some of the kids that I had on my little local team with the team Dallas Mustangs. It's one of the better programs in the state, and you know, it just kind of took off from there. I was coaching, or one of the assistants on the 1700 as a freshman in college, and you know, was coaching that AAU team from age 18. So it just kind of started from there.
Okay, I see you've been putting in a lot of work. Now, tell the listeners about your coaching background and how you ended up at Southern Methodist University.
Well, I was a student assistant for 3 years at Howard University, my freshman through junior year, and then for 4 years, the real HU. I was at the same time, the rules were a little bit different back then. The NCAA allowed you to work with a 4-year. You could work with a 4-year NCAA institution and also coach AAU. So I coached the Dallas Mustangs for 3 or 4 summers in conjunction with going to Howard, and then the spring of my senior year, I was actually offered a GA position to Texas Tech with Bobby Knight, and I thought I was all set to go be a grad assistant at Texas Tech. And then in April, I got offered a full-time Division I assistant position at University of Texas at Arlington, which is home where I played high school basketball at Arlington Boys. So I knew the head coach, who had been a long-time assistant and recruited my best friend to UTA. And he had always told me if he got a head job that he would hire me. And, you know, luckily, man, I was blessed enough to be, start coaching at 21 at UTA. I spent 1 season there. Then I went to Stephen F. Austin in Nacogdoches, Texas for 3 years, where we went to the tournament for the first time in school history. Then I went to University of Houston with James Dickey for 2 seasons, and then took the job, I guess, a couple years ago. Going into our second year now at SMU with Larry Brown.
Wow. Yeah, like Akil said, you've definitely been putting your work in. This is Dev, man. Now, everybody from the War Room, we're from Philly. We're not all necessarily Philly fans. Some of us are. So we've kind of had, back in the Allen Iverson, Larry Brown days, we had the chance to get to watch Larry Brown do his thing up close. And we basically think he's basketball coaching royalty. So working with Larry Brown, like, what's different about him than other coaches that you've worked with at other stops?
I get this question a lot. I think the one thing that stands out, just working with him and spending as much time as I do with him every single day, is just how humble he is. and he can learn from anybody. You know, I mean, if our managers bring a suggestion to him that, you know, on a baseline out of bounds play, or you know, maybe, you know, how we should run, you know, a press break, or, you know, whatever it could be, a tweak on a secondary break. He's all ears. It could be a matter off the court. You know, I mean, he doesn't make you feel beneath him. You know, he makes you feel like you're working with him, and he's constantly learning. He even learns from our players. I mean, if they see something, I mean, he has no ego. He has one thing in mind, which he just wants to win and he wants to get better, and he works at it. You know, he's the first one at office every morning. Now he's probably the first one to go to sleep every night. But he's up every morning, and you know, he's gonna get on the phone. He's learning how to text, and you know, really getting into texting and tweeting, and you know, trying to get him on Instagram now. So he's learning that those things are important. But as far as just understanding what his strengths and weaknesses are, and putting people around him that can make him strong in areas that he may be weak, I think he's probably the best I've ever seen. And I think if you look at, you know, what he calls his coaching forest, because, you know, most people have trees. He told me when he offered me the job, he said, 90% of the coaches that work for me, son, they become head coaches. He said that, you know, I know you may be in a great coaching tree, but, you know, I have a forest. And so my wife and I, we were on our way down the next morning.
He said he got the forest, huh? All right, now, we definitely, you know, throughout especially his NBA coaching career, you know, he basically, at each stop, you kind of have to adapt to the talent that you have. When he was here in Philadelphia, he definitely had to adapt to the style of Allen Iverson and kind of build a team around him. But with you guys down there at SMU, we always hear him preach about playing the right way. So we know, you know, that's first and foremost. But what kind of style do you guys play offensively and defensively?
Well, I'll just say this first about coach. You know, that term, playing the right way, is one that we probably hear about 30 times a practice. And, you know, we actually put it up in our locker room. And if you hear, you know, we've had some of his former players come back. Allen Iverson obviously been back, Avery Johnson, David Robinson, just to name a few, and they all talk about Coach harping on playing the right way. You know, we're gonna run for layups, and we try to score within the first 5-7 seconds of the clock. Offensively, you know, on a missed shot, we'll run right in the secondary break and then flow into our base offense, where we'd like to try to set a ton of ball screens and try to change sides. We try to play inside out, you know, and you know, he harps on just sharing the ball and playing hard and, you know, making winning plays. And defensively, we try to play majority man. He hates zone. You know, you know, we'll try to you know, run and jump a little like he did in Philly. I mean, you know, George Lynch is on our staff, and George was just so great at running and jumping in the half court there in Philly. But we're long and athletic. I don't think we really I know we didn't play the way he would like for us to play last year just because we were so limited, but I think we're starting to kind of get the athletes that he would want. But, you know, that's another thing about him is he doesn't need, you know, 5 superstars, so to speak. I mean, he just needs guys that's going to buy in and going to play. I mean, he's no different than any coach. I mean, you got to have some talent, but, you know, we don't need, you know, 10 McDonald's All-Americans. I mean, you know, if we have guys that are listening and come to practice every day and want to work hard and, you know, have their motors already revved up and just want to learn and listen, we're going to get better, and they're going to get better. I mean, because he is, without a doubt, the best teacher that I've ever been around, and, you know, obviously has a reputation of being the best teacher in the game. So,
Okay.
No doubt.
With all the new NCAA regulations and rules and things changing year in and year out, even the NBA rules changing where you have to go to college for 1 year, how has the recruiting landscape changed in the last 10 years?
Well, I think there's been a lot of changes. You know, obviously the dynamic of the kids going, them having the opportunity to go to school from 1 year makes it a little bit different, and every head coach has different views. Coach is a little bit different, man. He's about two things when it comes to developing people around him. One, he wants young coaches like myself to develop and become successful head coaches. And then two, he wants players around him that want to play in the NBA and play at the highest level and play professionally overseas in the NBA, and he wants to try to help those guys get there as soon as they can. Now, obviously, he wants to graduate as student-athletes, but, I mean, he's all about helping them to prepare them to be successful at the pro level. And so, obviously, if we can get guys that are, one-and-done guys or two-and-done guys, I mean, we would embrace that, and in coaches' eyes, that would kind of free up an opportunity for another young kid, maybe that may be in a program that's returning, or for incoming freshmen that have an opportunity to step in and be able to play right away, if that happens for us. But even in recruiting, I think the dynamics have kind of changed, just because when I first started, back when I was at UTA, man, the first thing I would do every morning, probably from 9 to 12, was I would write letters to everybody, handwriting letters, and doing mass mail-outs, and I can't remember the last time I've written a handwritten letter. And but now it's everything's changed to social media, and so you got Instagram, and you got Twitter, and Vine, and all these different apps, and the kids, our players and our managers, kind of keep us on our toes and kind of let us know what we should be doing and what's hot and what's not, what the recruits are kind of on, and just try to stay up to speed with that kind of stuff, man, and just try to build your brand through social media, so to speak, so kind of what we've been doing.
Yeah. You got to find out where they are, talk to them on their level.
No doubt.
Definitely.
No doubt.
Exactly. Now, when people say you are one of the top young recruiters in college basketball, what are your thoughts?
I mean, obviously, it's very humbling to be able to get that type of label, but, I'm going to be honest, my biggest reason to come to Coach Brown is because I wanted to be one of the top head. I want to be a Hall of Famer, man. I'm not going to lie to you. I want to be a Hall of Famer. I feel like I am blessed with the abilities to do it, and I wanted to be able to be the best head coach that I can be, and so every day, I put a lot of time and effort and working at my craft, not just recruiting, but coaching, and just understanding that, I'm going to have to do those things, I'm going to have to learn how to be CEO and how to manage people and put people in situations to be successful. So, and Coach, he challenges me on those things, and he hates when people refer to myself or anybody else on our staff as a recruiter or just a basketball guy, or, he wants us to be a coach, the total package. Mm-hmm. And so I definitely embrace it. I think it's flattering. Obviously I think it's one thing that I think is a strength of mine. And recruiting was my end, so to speak, into the college basketball game, and I always will embrace that, and I know that would always be one of my strengths, but just trying to be the best man that I can be, like any other profession, and so not just putting all my eggs in just recruiting, but, just being, like I said, just learning the game every single day. I'm blessed to work on a great staff, and I've been blessed to work on great staffs, and you don't do it by yourself, and so many people try to, pinpoint a guy on a staff to say, okay, well, man, that guy recruited that kid, but there's so many people that kid comes on campus, he encounters the players, he encounters the other assistant coaches and other support staff on campus, administrators, the head coach obviously does a great job. And there's just so many people that play a part in you getting a kid. It's just not one person. You know what I mean? So I've been blessed to be on great staffs.
And being an HU alum and having followed your career way back from Howard to UTA to Stephen F. Austin to Houston, when information came down through the pipeline that Larry Brown was going to be the head coach at SMU, it's kind of like you popped up like, well, I know Coach Brown, he hasn't been in college basketball in a while, and you've been in college basketball. So when they tapped you and just brought you in, to me it seemed like a no-brainer. Like, oh yeah, that made sense because I know Ulric, he's been putting in work in the state of Texas the last 10 years or so. So it was seemed like a great hire. Now, why should a top basketball recruit choose SMU over any other university?
Well, I'm biased, so I think there's a lot of great schools that are out there, great programs, a lot of great coaches. I just think that right now, today, at this state of the program, we've never been at this state. This program's never been at this state on a national scene. They've had some great teams, obviously, in the history of SMU. A lot of great players that have come through the program, especially back in the Southwest Conference days. Guys like John Concac, and the list goes on and on. Gerald Sasser was really, really good. He played in the WAC conference at Kimball. Was a four-time All-American. Ira Terrell. I mean, there's been some great players that come through here. But I think that we've been lucky to land some top players. In the country last year, obviously Keith Frazier being our first McDonald's All-American, and then I think Yannick Morea was arguably the top junior college recruit, definitely probably the top JUCO big in the country. They won a national championship there at South Plains, going 39-0, and for him to have all the great options just like Keith and Sterling Brown and Dem Moore, those guys being top 100 and top 150 guys. And, having all the high major offers that they had, and to choose SMU, and then we put the three high major transfers with these guys. Nick Moore was the Missouri Valley Freshman of the Year, and Marcus Kennedy started some games as a freshman at Villanova, and he was a top 100 recruit. Crandall Head from Illinois, transfer from Illinois, was a top 100 recruit. I just think that if you look at our talent, I think. You get a chance to play with a team that has a chance, that we think we're building a team that has a chance to win a national championship. You're playing for a coach that's won a national championship and a world championship, and at the end of the day, I think can prepare a kid for the next level just as good as anybody, if not better. It's a great city of Dallas. You can get great exposure. SMU is a top 50 academic institution. We're opening up a brand new arena, $63 million arena, and I think if you just look at the people that we have on our staff, I'll put our staff up against anybody in the country. But I mean, it's not a place for everybody. It's just we just need to find the guys that fit our profile and that feel at home with us. I mean, it's definitely a family environment, but it's a lot of great places out there to go. We just need to find 13 every year that'll be good enough to help us win.
Definitely sound like, some positive things going on there. Future sounds bright for SMU basketball. Ulric, before we get you out of here, though, just like all the rest of our guests, man, we give everybody a chance to, quote-unquote, do their commercial. So, let our listeners know, it's the website where they can see your schedule. Because, we got people everywhere, so we might have some people come to a few games. If you're on Twitter, Facebook, give out that information.
Man, we love for everybody to come out and check out a game. Obviously, we're going to a new conference, American Athletic Conference. All 18 games be nationally televised on ESPN. For more information, you can go to our website at smumustangs.com. Also, feel free to follow me on Twitter or Instagram at Coach_Maligi, Maligi, for the latest on what's going on in SMU in the city of Dallas.
All right. Well, we want to thank you for joining us in the War Room today. We're going to be keeping, we're going to keep track of what you guys are doing this season, and we'll definitely keep in touch during the season.
We don't want any bandwagon fans, so, be a fan this year. We don't want anybody jumping on the bandwagon next year.
All right, but, you're family now. You've been in the War Room, so, we keep an eye on you guys and then have you back in the War Room to talk about, what happened this season after the season's over.
I look forward to it anytime. Thanks for having me on, man.
All right. Thanks, Ulric. All right, fans, that's Ulric Maligi.
Kuwait is the War Room with 5 nights at the round table. 5 Philly guys diversified and educated.